Good morning, students. Today I am going to start chapter number 3, Electoral Politics from Democratic Politics. So, students, in my previous explanation, I told you about Constitution and its designing. But in today's topic, first of all, we will discuss overview of this chapter. So, students, as you know very well that in democracy it is neither possible nor necessary for people to govern directly. That's why they govern through the elected representative. And governing through elected representatives is the most common form of democracy. All right? And students, in this chapter, we will look at how these representatives are elected. All right? And chapter number 3, Electoral Politics, is all about understanding election of representative and need of elections and how to make election democratic. It also involves examining the role of the election commission in ensuring free and fair election in India. All right. So students, your first topic is why elections. So students, as you know very well that the mechanism or procedure by which people choose their representatives at regular intervals is called election. And if people are not satisfied with the working of the government, then they can change the government in the next term of elections. So students, in this series, the procedure of election can be understood by the real example of Haryana Assembly elections, and it will show to you that how candidates standing in election become representatives and how power can be removed from their hands. All right. So students, assembly election in Haryana. Formation of new party, Lok Dal, Haryana had been ruled by Congress party since 1982. And at that time, Chaudhry Devi Lal was an opposition leader. He led movement called Navya Yudh or struggle for justice, and formed new party Lok Dal. Okay. So election campaign of Devi Lal in election campaign of 1987 assembly election, Devi Lal promised voters that if his party win, he would give loan to farmers and small businessmen to start new business or to develop their economic condition with the help of that loans. So students, voters favored Lok Dal as people were unhappy with the existing government. They were attracted by Devi Lal promise finally, and they voted in favor of Lok Dal, and its partners won 76 out of 90 seats totally. So students, as a result announced Lok Dal won 60 seats. That's why it had a clear majority in the assembly. So, students, the party with a clear majority is invited by the governor of India, who was that time, to form the government. And that time, Congress got only 5 seats. Okay. So, as the election result was announced, the existing chief minister of Congress resigned. Understood? And after that, Devi Lal became chief minister. The newly elected members of Legislative Assembly or MLAs of Lok Dal. So Lok Dal chose Devi Lal as their leader. And when the governor invited Devi Lal to be the new chief minister, just after 3 days of the election result, he took the oath. And then his government issued a government order to give loans to small farmers, agricultural laborers, and small businessmen. All right. And Congress again forms government Lok Dal, ruled Dal state for 4 years. And in 1991 election, the party did not win people's support. This time, Congress won the election and again formed the government by the Congress party. All right. So students, on the basis of that above example, you can understand very clearly that how only people's support make possible to anything to change it in a new form. Like first of all, Congress party, and after that Lok Dal party, and again Congress party formed the government. All right. After that, your next topic is why do we need election? So students, as you know very well that elections are needed to elect or choose representatives, and the need of elections can be understood by imagination of democracy without elections. So students, in the absence of the election, all the people have to sit together every day and take all the decisions. But this is not possible in any large community, and nor it is possible for everyone to have the time and knowledge to take decisions on all matters. Therefore, in most democracies, people rule through their representatives. All right. So students, as you know very well that every year elections take place regularly in every democracy. And students, there are more than 100 countries in the world in which elections take place to choose people representative. So students, now on the basis of above example, you can understand clearly that why do we need elections? All right. So, students, the elections are needed for any representative democracy because they solve the problem of assessing people on the basis of education, knowledge, or experience. And they help in analyzing that people like their representatives or not. And also, they ensure that the representatives rule as per the wishes of the people and make sure that those who are not working for the people do not remain their representatives. All right. So, this requires a mechanism by which people can choose their representatives at regular intervals and change them if they wish to do so. And this mechanism is called election. Therefore, elections are considered essential in our times for any representative democracy. And in an election, the voters make many choices. Number one is they can choose who will make laws for them. Number two, they can choose who will form the government and take major decisions. And number three is they can choose the party whose policies will guide the government and lawmaking. All right. After that, your next topic is what makes an election democratic. So, students, you know very well that elections are held in all democratic countries and also in most of the non-democratic countries in many ways. But there is a simple list of the minimum conditions which make an election democratic. Like, number one is everyone should have the right to choose a representative. It means everyone has one vote and every vote has equal value. I'm talking about related to only one person, whether they are rich or poor. Number two is political parties and candidates should be free to contest elections and offer some real choices to the voters. Understood? Number three is the choices should be offered at regular intervals. For that, elections must be held regularly after a fixed certain period. Like in India, election held every after 5 years. All right. Point number 4 is the candidates preferred by the people only should get elected. But you know very well that nowadays, due to much corruption, candidates often use dirty tricks like booth capturing to win elections. All right. Point number 5 is the pressure to win electoral fights does not allow to form useful long-term policies. And point number 6 is the competition leads to the idea of being dragged into the unhealthy competition and participate in political competition. All right. But students, you know very well that the electoral competition also has some disadvantages. Like, number one is regular electoral competition provides incentives to political parties and leaders, and if they can satisfy the voters with their work, then they will be able to win again. And if a political party is motivated only by the desire to be in power, even then it will be forced to serve the people. Number three is it reveals the real motive of political parties, and it gives choices to voters to choose among the best. And students, is it good to have political competition? On the basis of this topic, as I told you the disadvantages of political competition, and now I'm saying about the advantages of political competition. So students, yes, it is good to have political competition because a political competition may have many limitations, such as it can result in factionalism, disunity, and use of dirty tricks to win elections. However, free competitions in election works better in a longer run. And many political parties prepare their manifestos in which they point out steps that they will take after they come to power. And students, here the meaning of manifesto is policies whatever made by the politicians to attract the common people to support them. All right. So students, in this way the voter is in an advantageous situation, and he can assess the policies and manifestos and party policies and decide the party to which he/she wants to vote. Understood? And in any democracy, elections are based on political competition. And if political competition is absent, then it is hampering the working of democratic practices or institutions. Okay? So students, on the basis of above example, now you can understand that political competition have both sides, negative and positive. But anyhow, it is good for a democratic country because it provides a right to choose the representative whatever they want according to their needs and requirements. All right, students. So students, many questions will arise here that how do we deal with this real life situation? And one way is to try and improve the knowledge and character of political leaders. This is the answer. Students, as you know very well that nowadays politicians are so corrupted that it is very difficult in front of the people to choose a right representative for them. That's why it is necessary to improve the knowledge and character of political leaders. And the other and more realistic way is to set up a system where political leaders are rewarded for serving the people and also punished for not doing so. But again, one question will arise here that who decides this reward or punishment? So students, answer is very simple: the common people. This is what electoral competition does. And regular electoral competition provides incentives to political parties and leaders, as I told you. Alright, students. So, students, now you can understand very clearly that elections are thus all about political competition, and this competition takes various forms. The most obvious form is the competition among the political parties at the constituency level. And students, here, so students, the meaning of constituency is a group of voters in a specified area who elect a representative to a legislative body. Alright? And it takes the form of competition among several candidates. And if there is no competition, elections will become pointless. So students, now you can understand very clearly that political competition is good for a better democracy, but it has some disadvantages also, which I told you in my above explanation. Alright. So students, listen my explanation seriously, and if you have any confusion, please contact me. Alright. Thank you and have a nice day.